Nothing fancy, right? They don't have to be perfect. You might want to try to bend the corners down so that they're not sharp and they don't cut you, right? At every corner. Hey, it's Greg here with MaritimeGardening.com, and it's raining cats and dogs outside, so I'm in the garage doing garage type stuff. And I thought I'd do one last final video on the design of these little hoop houses I make. There's lots of different designs, and I've got a way I do it that works for me. And I get a lot of questions about it, and I've done a couple of videos talking about it. But since I can't go outside and do any gardening anyway, it's pouring and the winds are high, I thought I would try to really, for those that really want to think about this, really want to contemplate design, I'm going to talk about everything I've come to realize is a good idea where I am right now, right? Because I've been doing this for a number of years. Are there better ideas out there? I'm sure there are. So here I've got it's about 4 by 8. It's not exactly those dimensions. And I'm going to discuss that as well. 4 by 8 dome using 2 by 3 as the outer perimeter. Actually, I was just a piece from a tree here in the center because that's all you need. And I'm using concrete wire remesh. A lot of people will call this cattle panels, and I'm sure there's something you can buy that is called cattle panels, but this has nothing to do with cattle. This is concrete wire remesh. It's a 6-inch mesh that you use for laying concrete. If you go to people ask me where they get it, I get this at a hardware store. Usually they keep it in the yard outside where they keep all the stuff for working with cement and concrete, stuff like that. Okay, concrete wire remesh, that's what I get. You get it in 4 by 8 sheets, 4 feet by 8 feet. And it's very lightweight and very relatively cheap. I mean, I don't know what the price is now. I bought these a number of years ago. They were probably $12 when I bought them. They're probably $15 or $20 now, who knows, with inflation, and especially right now, the price of building materials seems to have gone through the roof. But concrete wire remesh, long lasting but flexible, it bends, makes a good dome. So let's first talk about sizing. Let me bring the camera in here so you can see what I'm contemplating. Now, imagine this wooden box is a garden bed, right? A raised bed garden. And I make you can use these for lots of different things, but they really come into their own in a raised bed for a number of reasons. For me, your choice is to make the dome so that either fits in the wooden frame of the bed or completely, or the opposite, right? The dome goes all the way around it, like that sort of thing, right? Now, there's something to be said for the dome going all the way around it in terms of its ability to trap and hold heat. But if that's the case, the dome needs to be very large, and given that you're constrained to the wire remesh being 48 inches wide, and it actually has to be, the frame of the dome has to be narrower than that for the the bend to make a dome, right? So really, in terms of it's like the materials are almost demanding that the dome width be less than 4 feet wide. Just pretending this is a garden box that is 8 feet long by 4 feet wide. So for me, you want the dome to fit inside the bed. Remember, in any of one of my garden beds, the level of soil is always lower than the very top of the garden box, right? And the reason you want that is because, when you're planting stuff early in the season, you can put hay or straw or leaves or whatever around this perimeter. It makes a kind of seal to hold the heat in, but it breathes to some extent as well. But also, you want the edge of the dome below the profile, right? Below the profile. That way, when wind's blowing, it can't lift the thing up and blow it off into the side of your house or over your roof or whatever. So, you want it down. I mean, of course, I tie mine down and do stuff like that, but sometimes I forget to tie them down, right? I'm busy, or I get called in to the house and I leave them for a night and the wind whips up over the night. So at the very least, you want them to be narrower, right? That you want them, the entire outer dimension, the length and the width, to be less than the dimensions of your box, so that wind, generally speaking, can't get under the corners or edge of these and lift it off, right? Generally speaking, the wind's going to come this way, it's going to come this way. It's not going to come up from the ground, it's going to come, along the ground and, lift up. So you've got the size of the garden bed. The wind cannot pick this thing up and fly it around. And you want it slightly narrower so it's not rubbing and sliding every time you lift it out. Right? You want it to fit in nice and not be jammed in. And some of mine are like that, right? Because I wasn't really thinking it through. So assuming you've got a bunch of beds in your garden, you want to take a measurement, the inside measurement, right? Inside corner, inside to inside, for all of them, because they all could be a little bit different. And come up with a width that's about going to give you, half an inch or an inch of play either way. So it's going to fit in all of them, right? And it's going to be versatile, so you can move it around, use it in different beds for different years. Okay, that's number one thing that I've realized over the years. Number two is, and this is all if you have the time, right? This is a good project to do in the winter when you can't garden, but is reinforcing them in places where they tend to give up. So this is the middle piece, the cross piece that sort of holds the center from bowing out. And I've got a couple screws in here. They're nice long ones too, going deep into the wood. But they will still come out because they're with the grain, not against the grain. So you just get a piece of metal, anything, get some tin snips, cut strips of metal, and you attach it to the wood this way so it's going cross grain, right? The grain of this tree goes, in a sense, this way, right? So you got them going this way. And you got another screw popped in here. And on the top side, I got one here as well, right? A couple of these are nails over here, doesn't matter. It's just going to keep this from separating at all. It's just going to, you got to think about, you're going to be lifting it, putting it down, lifting it, putting it down, carrying it, moving it around, snow, ice, rain, moisture, humidity, all that sort of stuff, right? So by having something like this, is just some old sheet metal off some old project. You can fish the stuff out of people's trash, no problem. It's easy to find. It's going to last many years. Don't worry about it rusting, right? But that's just going to keep this piece of wood tight to here, and it's cheap, right? You just pound the nail right through it, right? Get something that's soft enough. There's different gauges of steel. Get relatively flimsy steel, like something you'd use for roofing or whatever. And or really, people are always throwing away old microwaves, refrigerators, anything. There's all kinds of things you can find in people's trash that are made using sheet metal of various kinds. You just smash the sheet metal panel away and flatten it out and use it for whatever you need it for. It's an incredibly useful, material. Really, that was only the last couple hundred years have human beings had a use of something like this. So very handy. Okay, so that's a reinforcement, right? I got them there. I've got them across the corners, right here. And here. Nothing fancy, right? They don't have to be perfect. You might want to try to bend the corners down so that they're not sharp and they don't cut you, right? Every corner. Right? And because there's two sides to this thing, I've got them on the opposite side too, right? Again, nothing fancy. Here I didn't even square it off. I just put a piece like that. It's still better than nothing. It's going to hold, right? This piece is screwed. The screws are right here, okay? But this piece of metal, the screws could give up because, again, they're sort of with the grain, right? So I've got a piece of metal here, piece of metal with nails, so that these two things will not come apart or be less likely to come apart, right? The nails will have to give up. Here I've used what they call Ardox nails. It's sort of a nail with a twist in the shape of the nail. Better than a regular nail. And they're not galvanized, so these were kind of rust in place, which is the thing you can use to your advantage, okay? So every corner's got one of those as well, as you can see, right? That should maintain the integrity of this thing a lot better. Another change I made with this design is putting a sort of ridge beam across the top. I guess you could call it that, a ridge pole or whatever. Just a 1x3. And I hold it in place by cutting a slot out of a 1x3 and screwing it in down here, right? So it holds this up. And you don't have to be a skilled carpenter to do this sort of thing. I use the same folding saw that I use for This is a Silky Gum Boy. Same thing I use for going out in the woods, camping, all this sort of stuff, and use for pruning my fruit trees and stuff like that in the garden. The same thing I used to make these nice little cuts. Right? Again, they don't have to be perfect. You're not making a jewelry box here, right? And you don't have to worry about it being perfectly attached. You have a point of contact here. This thing goes into it there. And then you see I've got it just tied on to the ridge so that it won't let go. And I tied this on using the, what's it called, the Canadian jam knot, right? Very simple tightening knot that I've made videos on how to make. I'll put a link to one of those at the end of this. Right? But I just put a couple of those jam knots along here. I think there's 4 along the top. Okay, so the reason I've got this ridge here is that sometimes this here can be a bit bendy and it can give under the weight of snow and ice and stuff like that tends to happen in February and March, even April and May, right? So these things can get bent into shape. This just holds it true. I think it'll extend the life of it. Also, you've got something dark going down the center, so this will heat up when the sun shines on it, get a melt going. So when this does frost over, or ice over, or snow over, there's something here to attract heat to get everything melting. Okay. Another change I made with this design was that this is just an experiment. That's why I haven't gone whole hog with it. I was in a dollar store. I work next to a dollar store, or it's, I can go to a dollar store on my coffee break where I work, and I noticed this stuff in the gardening section. It's just this foam stuff. One of the problems with running 6mm poly over these wire remesh frames is that it's a bit abrasive, and the weight of the snow and the ice and that sort of stuff can wear out the plastic. So I thought, what if I put something soft and smooth along here? How would that work? But you can see I haven't gone whole hog and done it along the whole thing. I've just done it in a few places. I basically bought 1 coil of the stuff for $1 or $2 and put it in places. And it's like an experiment. I'm going to see if it has any effect on the wearing down degradation of the 6mm poly. I'm also concerned that the sunlight and the UV and all that sort of stuff will just make this disintegrate fairly quickly because it's just cheap. I don't know. You never know what these materials are made of. Sometimes they're very UV resistant, and sometimes they break down very quickly and very easily. So I don't know. Anyway, just an experiment. Not the end of the world if it's a fail. The other change I made with this design was that before I would just use sort of just plain wood, and with this one here I've stained it. Okay, and the reason I stained it is just to darken the color, to prevent it from rotting and so on and so forth. I used to not stain them because I just wanted to be all natural and that sort of thing. But really, these aren't really on the garden for too long. They're usually sitting on top of a mulch, on top of the soil, so they're really not, getting broken down. They're, whatever toxic substances are in the stain that I use for this, I'm really not that concerned of much of it getting into my soil, and by virtue of that getting into me. I'm going to guess this trace amounts to the extent that it's not worth worrying about. Don't take me to court. I'm telling you what I'm doing. You do what you want to do. But I can tell you that this wood, because they're outside all year, and the inside of these domes can be a kind of a moist environment, right? There's moisture, right? And wood and moisture don't mix. So given that it takes a bit of time to throw one of these together, and you spent money for the materials, and of course there's an ecological footprint with producing and delivering all the materials, all that sort of stuff, I thought it took a quarter cup of stain and about 20 minutes of my time to do that. If I get an extra 5 years out of it as a result of that, makes sense. One final thing, because I get questions about this sometimes. Why do I use a tree in the middle? Right? Well, I'd use this because you don't need, for all these other parts of it, dimensional lumber really helps because you're trying to get right angles, you're trying to get things square, you're trying to be relatively precise, right? But for this piece here, all you want is something that holds this end the right distance from that end relative to the width over here and at the other end. So you just need something that's long enough to do that. And since I live in a rural area and I got spruce trees everywhere, dead ones of a dead standing spruce tree, it just makes sense to use what's kicking around instead of spending money on lumber, right? And then you stain it and it lasts. This was just a dead standing spruce tree, so nicely dry, cure, wasn't green, didn't have any water in it, so ready to go. And yeah, that should, in a sense, it's wider. It's got a wider, dimensionally, it's actually wider than a 2x3. It's like maybe 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Relatively beefy, relatively robust. Also, I guess when you're carrying, I tend to hold them by these, just like you carry a canoe by the thwarts or by the yoke or whatever. So it just makes it nice and comfortable to carry because it's round. And you can see here, because it's round, I had to cut this out this way. Just use a saw and a chisel and just mess with it a little bit. Didn't take long to do. And again, you don't have to do it this way. You could have a piece just attached to the side and attached up here. It really depends on, your ingenuity and how comfortable you are with things being perfect or not so perfect. Another reason I stained this with something dark was so that the wood would attract the sun's heat into itself, right? So this wood is getting wet all the time and the sun's on it all the time. So with it having a dark color, conceivably, it should attract the sun's heat and dry out, which should prolong its life. That's the idea anyway. One final point, don't be afraid to modify these things where you need to. So this wire remesh was too long for what I needed it for. I got a number of beds that aren't exactly 8 feet long just because they need to be that length where they are in the garden. And one of those beds, there's I think 4 or 5 beds that are this weird length. They're like 92 inches long, I think is the total length, something like that. So not quite 8 feet. So the 96-inch wire remesh, too long. So I just cut, you see that in the camera, but I just cut a piece off, right? I just cut that off the end, right? I don't know what I'm going to use that for. I'm using what that's called, one of these mini grinder, right? Angle grinder, mini grinder, right? Just cut it off using one of these. You got to have safety goggles. It's good to have some ear protection because they're pretty loud. But it took a split second to cut that off. Right, so you can adjust it to the size you need, right? Don't feel constrained that everything has to be a certain size, modified to work the way you want. Why not, right? So yeah, that's the final point. So anyway, hopefully, I think last video ever on hoop house design. I don't know, who knows? Maybe I'll come up with even more ideas in the future. It tends to be the way I work at things. You slap it together, see how it works, change it a little bit, see how that works, change it a little bit, see how that works, right? And I tend to go a little bit, I tend to take a deep dive in these sorts of things because I just find it interesting. It's just the way my mind works. I know not everyone thinks that way, and whatever, that's what makes the world go around. So anyway, I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Check out my podcast, maritimegardening.com. And until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.